There we go. And I feel so much better for that now. Cool. Didn't catch the stream. Laura Bow is an investigative journalist that's come from the south. Good evening. How are you? Laura Bow, when you say you didn't catch the story, do we mean the entire? Do I have to go back through the entire Colonel's Bequest, or are we happy for just day one story? So it could be a while doing multiple deaths and murders. Let's go with day one. So Laura has decided that she wants to embark on a career in journalism. Just a quick synopsis. Fair enough. Wants to embark on a career in journalism, gets on a train, arrives in New York, instantly has her luggage stolen because she's a naive young woman that's just arrived into the big city for the first time, gets mugged, turns up at the office, is given her first case to go and her first assignment, better word, to go and cover the theft of the dagger from the museum. She had to find out how to get in and interview all of these types. Turns out that there's an event on in the evening, so the museum was shut on day one. Day one involved running around, interviewing a few people outside of the museum. So we went and had plenty of time at a speakeasy where someone got very, very friendly with us. There was a nice lady who got very friendly with us. Found a dress, spent a lot of time in a taxi with a taxi driver who had many opinions, many opinions, as old taxi drivers do, and we eventually gained admittance to the event. That was day one. So, everybody meets everybody else whilst I'm closing my eyes and trying to work out where we got up to from day one. Day two, we're inside. We've just arrived inside the event. We don't know really who anybody is. We have names. We have Cartwright. We have two co-owners of the. Well, we have two heads of the museum. I didn't have to. That's why I didn't want to be a taxi driver for long. I didn't have the opinions I wanted to force on my passengers. The taxi driver in this, it wasn't so much forcing opinions. He was a well-read man of the world who wanted to share things that he had learnt, like the various bits of history that were, well, I say current affairs for him at the moment, that were going on around him at the time. It was like, it was actually quite pleasant. It was weird. So yeah, we had him. Yeah, it was. If he'd turned up to do our taxi driving, it would have been. I wouldn't have had any issues at all. It would have been great pleasantries and exchange. So yeah, we are in and we have arrived. We don't know really what we're doing yet. I'm slightly concerned. You can almost feel the low-level excitement in the room. Many of these partygoers have attended hundreds of fundraising events, seeing the same people, eating the same food, talking about the same things, and generally leading very dreary high society lives. I'm slightly concerned that I've got MT-32 audio, but I don't have application audio. 2 secs. Let me try that.
Well-timed silence hath more eloquence than speech. Martin Tupper.
You're going to tell me something like you can hear that and I can't. You can hear it! Oh, for love of 2 secs. No monitoring. Monitor and output. There we go.
You get no response.
Hooray! I had that before. Helps if I monitor the output. Okay. Right, let's kick this off. I am expecting this to be full of sleazy upper crust bastards who are all into backstabbing each other. And I am hoping for some grisly deaths in this at some point. So let's kick this off.
Heard any good rumors lately?
Oh my god. Subtle as a brick.
Maybe, or maybe
Oh!
not.
How's he get in?
What's it worth to you?
Well, I don't have any money right now.
Then I ain't got no rumors for you, Toots.
Sleazy guy from the speakeasy. But he wants money. Fair enough. Let's talk to everybody.
Bonjour, Miss Bow. Dr. Carrington told me you were covering this party for the newspaper.
Oh, we're covering the
I'm
party for the
Delacroix.
newspaper.
That's right, Miss Delacroix. I'm writing the social news column.
Ah, the social news. I was thinking you were here about the burglary.
There we go.
The burglary? Of course not. The newspaper would never assign a female cub reporter like myself to such an important story.
Ah, you are probably being correct, Miss Bow.
Okay.
Miss Bow, I am not wishing to be the rude person, but I must keep mingling this evening unless you have this specific question.
Fair. I mean, we can ask specific questions, and we will, but let's find out who else is in the room
This
first.
is quite a party. Does the museum always have a big fundraiser when they open a new exhibit, Dr. Carter?
Dr. Carter.
No, but they've never had such an important exhibit opening here before. And I'm an important curator with an important salary, so the museum wouldn't have been able to keep me employed here without financial assistance.
He's so Empire, it hurts.
You must be very important for the museum to go to so much trouble.
Naturally. The museum is lucky that I accepted this position as the head of their new Egyptian antiquities department. Why, my name alone will attract more visitors and more money to the museum.
Any chance that the Tutankhamun exhibit will make a stop here on its American tour?
I mean, there's a big Tut
No.
mask.
I'd hate to embarrass my relative by putting his Tutankhamun
Wow.
artifacts on display here. They pale by comparison to my own great discoveries, such as the Dagger of Amon Ra.
I mean, there's a giant Tut mask
Of
behind
course.
you.
How silly of me to think otherwise.
Yes, that was rather silly of you.
I mean, there's a Tutankhamun in the room that probably needs talking about.
It's a colossal bust of the pharaoh Ramses II, discovered at the Ramesseum, his
Okay,
mortuary
Ramses.
temple on the Nile's west
Looks like
bank,
Tut.
opposite present-day Luxor. The complete Ramses statue stood nearly 60 feet tall and weighed more than 1,000 tons. Presumably Ramses was not this large in life, although many people have stated that Ramses had a big head.
Ah! Okay. Who else is next in the talkings?
Good evening, sir.
Whoa!
My name is Laura Bow.
There we go.
I am Ramses Najir, Miss Bow. Pleased to make your acquaintance.
Ramses Najir, he's the accountant that we talked about, dodgy accountant that was talked about in day one. Also, mild-mannered
Good
reporter
evening, sir.
Good evening, Miss Bow.
that clearly steps into a telephone box and comes out as an appropriately attired superhero.
Good evening, Dr. Carrington.
Good evening, Miss Bow. Good evening.
Good evening, Dr. Carrington.
Good evening, Miss Bow. Good evening.
One Teddy Roosevelt lookalike. Okay, let's try asking some pointy questions. Let's ask the accountant about the burglary.
Mr. Najia, would you have any idea who might have stolen the Dagger of Amon Ra?
No, but whoever did should be boiled alive. He should be fed to hungry crocodiles. His guts should be strung from the pyramids. He should... Oh, excuse me. I get a little passionate on the subject.
We had the lisp.
Quite all right, Mr. Najia. I understand.
And we should throw him to the centurions very roughly. Okay. Now we know... Try to remember who he has an association with. That one? Wolf Heimlich?
I find Mr. Heimlich to be most intimidating. He seems to enjoy looming.
He's the
over
guy that's
people.
running security out the front. So, not him. But hey, tell us about your relationship with Archibald Carrington.
I have heard a great deal about Mr. Carrington.
I mean, he stood next
but
to
I
you.
do not know him very well. We have only spoken once or twice, but he seems like a cultured, charming fellow.
I mean, you would say that. He's there. Okay, Mr. Carter.
1,000 curses on that man.
Okay.
He defiled the tombs of my sacred ancestors for his own personal glory. He doesn't care a fig for what's right and what's wrong. His own evil deeds will catch up with him, though. Just wait and see.
Okie dokes, we don't like Mr. Carter. Ziggy is the guy with the dodgy eye that's in front of us. I think Ziggy told us about the accountant.
I do not know Ziggy very well, but he makes me uneasy. His eyes remind me of a jackal's.
Well,
I met him briefly at the party, then avoided him the rest of the time.
that's fair. What about the Countess? That we haven't met yet?
The Countess is quite a colorful lady. She seems to enjoy life to the fullest, does she not? Just between you and me, she scares me a little.
Why is that, Mr. Najia?
Well, she's just too enthusiastic for me, I suppose.
Enthusiastic. Enthusiastic. I think that's an enthusiastic euphemism. Okay. Anything else we can... Does he have an opinion on Egyptology?
Are you an Egyptologist, Mr. Najia?
No, not professionally. I have always been interested in the history of my country.
He's Egyptian.
And made a point of studying it. I am particularly interested in ancient Egyptian religions.
Okay. So, he's Egyptian, he has he's an accountant, he has an interest in Egyptology, and he doesn't like Mr. Carter. Okay, Mr. Carrington, tell me your opinion of Mr. Carter.
The fellow has quite an overinflated ego. He's got a legitimate reason for it, I suppose.
Fair enough. Tell me about the Countess.
Now there's a lady who truly supports the arts. A real patron, that old girl.
You're not going to give me much, are you, Mr. Carrington? Tell me about Mr. Najia.
Now there's an intense personality. He doesn't look it, but there's something seething below the surface. I'm frightfully sure of it. In any case, the fellow is a fine accountant.
That's because he's a man of steel. Okay. What about our guy out front,
He's a
Wolfheim?
real pip. A genuine go-getter, that fellow. He does a jolly good job of guarding the museum. Jolly good.
Okay, fair. Right. Now to ask our favourite person, Dr. Pippin Carter, about everybody else.
Dr. Carrington is a fine chap. He used to be in charge of the British Museum, you know.
Points for the
I ran
British
into him several
Museum.
years ago when I visited the British Museum to consult with Dr. Butch. Seems odd that Dr. Carrington doesn't remember me, but I almost didn't recognize him either. He's getting old after all. Looks different. Memory's probably shot as well.
Wow. Wow. I feel like we need a British Museum count, so we just gained a British Museum count. This game gains an extra 1. Okay. Unless there's a good reason for not knowing about Carrington. Does anybody know about the detective?
Ah, yes.
Oh!
Can't say I'm too impressed with Detective O'Reilly.
We should have asked about that.
Couldn't find a single bloody clue about the Dagger burglary. And he has the nasty habit of chewing on grapes constantly. Probably to cover up the smell of the alcohol he drinks.
Or does he drink the alcohol to cover up the smell of the grapes? I can't remember who the hell Crodfella T. Rhubarb
A
is.
crodfoller is some sort of miniature vegetable.
Oh, it's
isn't
the other
it?
reporter
A
in our
potato,
office.
Perhaps.
Ziggy knows him. Okay.
Crodfollers? No, thank you. I try to
Ouch.
restrict my intake of sugar. It has a bad effect on me.
Okay.
To be perfectly honest, I do not care for Mr. O'Reilly.
Oh.
I do not think he sees the beauty in ancient Egypt.
He's
He is
thinking
somewhat
about
blunt in
murders
his
and
approach
robberies.
to others as well. I suppose that is
He's a
just
beat
part of
cop.
his job,
Well, he's
however.
a detective that has other things to worry about. What does he think about Egyptology?
Since you're an expert on the subject,
Here we
what
go.
can you tell me about Egyptology?
I don't have time to explain the intricacies of my profession to a neophyte.
Oh.
If you're truly interested, I'd suggest several years of difficult study on the subject at one of your better universities. Once you've finished that, you can talk to me again.
He's a dick. He's an absolute dick.
Egyptology is all quite the fashion now, Miss Bow, but it's been a serious science for many years. I can recommend a number of fine books if you're interested.
I mean, yes. Okay, Ziggy. Ziggy's got nothing new right now. So we're going to leave Ziggy be. But we are going to talk to this lady. And ask the same set of questions. Let's ask her about the burglary.
It is terrible to think someone could break into this,
This
museum
museum.
and steal something so valuable. Monsieur Heimlich, he is all broken up about it, although he doesn't show it.
How
Heimlich.
did Dr. Carrington react to the burglary?
Dr. Carrington is a very dignified man. There is not much you can learn from his face. He seems to have taken the burglary very well, although he was angry with Wolf about the poor security.
Fair.
Do you have any idea who might have stolen the dagger?
There are many suspicious people here tonight who could have done it. The Countess, for example, or the little man Ziggy. But I have not the proof, you understand?
I don't think Ziggy would do it. It's not his kind of thing. But the Countess would be interesting.
You should ask Dr. Miklos or Dr. Smith about that.
Dr. Miklos or Dr. Smith? we just get names? Nope. No, we did not. We haven't asked many people about 26.
Has this been a good year for you, Miss Delacroix?
Ah, yes, every year is a good year for me, Miss Bow. It is all a matter of the attitude, no?
Why, that seems like a very healthy point of view.
Merci, Miss Bow. You are very kind.
I wonder if that gives us...
Have you found 1926 to be a good year for you, Dr. Carrington?
Yes, I would, Miss Bow. Frightfully good.
And what is that, Doctor?
It's not often that one gets the opportunity to head up the most respected museum in America, Miss Bow.
I mean... yeah, fair.
Mr. Najia, would you say that 1926 has been a good year for you?
Well, yes, I would have to say so. Business in America is booming, and many people need an accountant. I have not wanted for work, and my beloved wife Isis is soon to deliver
Isis.
our third child.
Third
I
child.
suppose I am as happy as a man should be.
Congratulations on the upcoming blessed event, Mr. Najia. What are your other children's names?
Well, there's Horus and Amon, and the new baby shall be named Anubis, after the wise and just Lord of the Dead.
Who names their child
Oh,
Anubis?
Lovely. But what if the child is a girl?
The name shall be Anubis either way.
It is a
wonderful
terrible name for a
either
child.
A boy or a girl.
No! Sure, we can find someone. No!
Would you say this has been a good year for you, sir?
Well, let's see. I made the most important archaeological discovery of all time.
He's really up himself.
Almost everyone on the planet knows my name, and
Wow.
I've clinched a curatorial job I've been after for years.
That's everyone on the planet that he
Yes,
believes
I'd say it
matters
has
knows
been
his
a rather
name.
good year.
Seems to me you might have a problem.
Nah.
A problem such as...
Size of your head.
Well, you've accomplished so much this year. What are you gonna do next?
Next? What next? Don't bother me with such ludicrous questions, you silly female.
Okay. Well done.
Neatly stacked water glasses. Some are full, some are empty. As a wise man once said, even empty water glasses have their uses.
I mean, let's be honest, that was a respectable amount of
Buffet
shade there.
tables are heaped with food, champagne, and water.
And you haven't eaten since you got to New York. Will you hurry up and fricking eat?
The food and champagne look good, but you're trying to stay on a diet, so you make the wise decision to leave them alone.
Diet is not starvation. Oh?
You pick it up and place it in your purse.
Yes! We have a glass. What a glass is good for?
The food and
Listening at doors.
The semi-happy partygoers just ignore you entirely, considering themselves high above your...
Oops, a daisy.
The semi-happy partygoers just ignore you entirely, considering themselves...
So far...
Looking at a small portion of the big head really doesn't do justice to the immense size of the statue, but you can see that the bust was sculpted with extreme care, almost as if the sculptor's life depended on it, which it did.
Fair.
The tablecloth is dusted with breadcrumbs and stained with grease, champagne, grape juice, and water.
So, we have a magnifying glass and it's doing something.
As you study everything in this room, you feel like you're being watched. Then you realize that the enormous eyes of Ramses II seem to be scrutinizing your every movement. That's not the... You see a bald, greasy, unpleasant little man with overlarge pores and a sour expression.
Wow. judgmental.
I am hoping you like what you are seeing, Miss Bow.
Boom.
Stop that, you silly female.
You silly female.
Please do not scrutinize me so severely, Miss Bow. You are making me nervous.
That's more than a little rude, Miss Bow.
But it's part of the job. Glass onion. Okay, cool. Right, well, there's exits to the left, exits to the right.
The archway that leads to the rest of the museum. Don't touch it.
Can we go that way? Can we go to the rest of the museum? Oh! Oh, okay, there's a right-hand side. We're not done with this lot yet. No. Need to talk first. That one.
You see a short, elderly woman dressed flamboyantly, and you suspect expensively, and sporting a grotesque amount of makeup. In fact, when she speaks, you notice small flecks of base coat chipping off of her jowls and tumbling onto her furred collar.
Bit ouch. Okay, well, let's...
Hi, I'm Laura Bow, and I'm covering this event for the Tribune Society news column.
Good evening, Miss Bow. I'm the Countess Lavinia Waldorf Carlton. Please be sure to spell my name right in your story.
That's the Countess? That's the horny Countess? Yep. That is the horny Countess that everybody's been talking about. Didn't see that one coming.
What do you make of the theft of the Dagger of Amon Ra, Countess?
Oh, it's horrid. Simply horrid. What sort of creature would make off with a priceless work of art, I wonder?
You?
Do you have any ideas about who it might have been?
Oh, my, no! I try not to associate with dreadful people, dear girl.
You ask your...
Okay. What was 1926 like for you? I'm establishing motive.
Has 1926 been a good year for you?
Oh, no, dear girl. It's been absolutely horrid.
Oh.
My darling husband Sterling died this year, you know.
Sterling.
I don't know what I'll do without him.
Wait.
I'm terribly sorry to hear that,
Sterling
Countess.
and the Countess?
Well, aren't you the sweet little thing? Thank you, my dear.
Do you know much about Egyptology, Countess?
Only a little, dear girl. I find it quite diverting.
This is a ruse. Okay. So, speakeasy.
Miss Bow, you must be sure to avoid such dens of iniquity. They can only ruin a young lady's reputation.
And tell me, why was everybody waiting for you there? Tell me about the museum.
I think the Lion Decker is simply divine, don't you?
Tell me about these two.
Ah, truly a man of great ambition and integrity,
I mean, ambition, yes. Ambition with a capital A. Integrity, I'm not so sure. He's definitely a Carter. Okay.
Dr. Carrington, What about him? I know very little about the man.
Now that's odd. I could have sworn Mr. Dorian said that you met Dr. Carrington in a taxi when he arrived on the Andrea Doria.
Yep.
Yes, so what if I did? I mean, yes, I did meet him that night. Our families are, old allies from the time of the War with Roses. I felt obliged to meet him upon his arrival. Noblesse oblige, you understand.
Did her accent just slip quite badly? Okay. Yup. I mean, I want to go and explore that. Come on. Would you like to walk between walls or screens? There we go. Carrington?
There was...
Oof, the walking between places leaves a lot to be desired in this one. Okay. Hey, tell me about the Countess.
I'm really very busy, Miss Bow. I don't have time to cover the same subject twice.
Smurf.
The docks are dreadful, rough places, Miss Bow. Simply dreadful.
Okay. So something's fishy with her. Very fishy. Does she know Ziggy?
He seems a perfectly dreadful little fellow. Let's not discuss him.
Okay. Let's go wander around.
The fanatically happy...
The partygoers. The partygoers. The partygoers. Exit through the gift shop. Ooh, gift shop. Always exit through the gift shop. Okay. Oh. Let's have a look.
On each piece, you can see a tiny stamp that says, Faux Egyptian Artifacts, crafted with care by Hakim Rashad Hassan Ali Bozorg and Sons.
Okay.
The rug is nice. On each...
So, fake Egyptian artifacts.
Upon close inspection, you see nothing new here. There's an inscription on each of the pots which reads, These vessels were made by Welsh craftsmen. We make better castles than you do, and our flag has a griffin on it.
I mean, you can't argue with that. We make better castles than you do, and our flag has a griffin on it.
That's not the sort of thing you want to examine too closely.
Genuinely beautiful.
It's a painting of the pharaoh Uber Spamaton hunting geese in the springtime with his hounds and his son, Niet.
Okay.
What a beautiful painting of the Mask of Tutankhamun. You wish you had the money to buy it.
You are a new reporter in New York. You have no money.
This case holds beautiful museum replicas. Don't touch it. You can't touch the daggers on display in the locked case. It looks just like the Dagger of Amon Ra. Isn't it beautiful?
Uh-huh.
It looks... This is the counter where the counter counts the money.
Replica daggers in a case.
This case holds... It's the cash register. Laura, you'd never steal.
I wouldn't know.
Don't touch it.
Made in Pittsburgh.
The dagger shows Pittsburgh's high degree of craftsmanship. It looks...
Made in Pittsburgh. I mean, that feels a bit easy and obvious, doesn't it? Yeah.
The dagger shows a high... The dagger...
So the one on the end doesn't have a Made in Pittsburgh label on it.
Fräulein, this gift shop is closed. You should not be here.
Oh, I'm sorry. The door was unlocked.
Unlocked? My assistant will be disciplined harshly for this mistake. Please rejoin the party now. I will be forced to injure you.
Bloody hell. Little extreme. So, is it fair to say we just found the dagger? Okay. And I'm... Yep. Is he going to still be in there? Fair enough. Okay, we can't go back in there.
Back to the rotunda, Fräulein. The rest of the museum is off limits. And you are spooking their mastodons.
And you are spooking the mastodons! Wow. Aha! Teleportation was possible in 1926, kazooks! I mean, he was really quick to get from the gift shop all the way back there. But he was in the gift shop, he was. Or maybe it wasn't him, and it was his twin brother. And it's been two of them all along.
You must be Dr. Ptah Sheptut Smith.
That's Dr. Smith.
Nice gold ankh you're wearing. This is quite a party, isn't it?
I find it distasteful to celebrate thievery in the name of science. The artifacts in this museum's Egyptian collection do not belong here. They belong in Egypt.
That's only your opinion.
It is the truth. And the thieves who rob Egypt of its ancient treasures will find death waiting for them.
We're going to change that to the stolen artifacts count.
Will have his revenge.
I see. Well, nice weather we're having.
The bullshit Sierra death count and the stolen artifacts British Museum count. We're going to cheat as well, because we had a reference right at the beginning, which would put that up to 3. I think that's fair. But we've only had one bullshit Sierra death so far, so I feel like we are definitely missing something. Oops. What the hell? There we go. What, Elgin marbles? The Elgins have not appeared. Right.
I'm not in the mood.
No one's in the mood to indulge. Oh, Death. No, not yet. Not yet.
Good evening, Dr. Miklos.
Oh, good evening, Miss Ball.
Okay, that's Miklos.
How are you, Detective O'Reilly?
The detective's here.
Just fine, lassie. You're looking lovely this evening.
Good evening. I'm Laura Bow.
The snobbish high society partygoers just ignore you entirely. You're not a part of their accepted social circle.
She
and are
reminds me
therefore
of
beneath
something.
their notice.
Other than a puppy. Right. How do you feel about Dr. Carter?
You dare to mention his name to me? He is a blasphemous
He is.
and tomb robber who
Yes.
stole the Dagger of Amon Ra from Egypt.
Yes.
He will know the full force of the curse of the pharaohs.
The curse of the pharaohs. What's that?
The defilers of the great Egyptian tombs and temples will all die as a result of their crimes. The gods themselves will punish them. The great Amon Ra will snuff out Peepin Carter's life as easily as I can crush a dung beetle under my shoe.
They're quite
How
hard to
will
crush.
this happen?
Amon Ra works in mysterious ways.
Ooh.
You will have to wait and see.
Go, Kumba! Yeah. There is definitely a go comparism waiting to happen. Okay, let's ask... Actually, no. Let's ask him about Detective O'Reilly. I mean, he's only stood next to him.
I believe he's investigating the burglary of the Dagger of Amon Ra. Perhaps, if he'd stopped drinking, he might have a chance at finding it.
Okay, Carrington.
I had hoped that Dr. Carrington would listen to reason. I had made another appointment to speak with him about the return of the Dagger of Amon Ra to its rightful home. But this seems futile since it is no longer in the museum.
I mean, it's in the gift shop.
Another
It's
appointment?
in the gift shop.
You spoke to Dr. Carrington once already?
It's over there.
Only by phone. He denied Egypt's claim to the dagger. It was hoped that a personal visit would convince him of our sincerity.
Up we
but
go.
The situation has changed since then.
Okay. I mean, the situation has changed.
Upon close
Oh, interesting. Right. Do you have a relationship with the Countess? Ooh, you do with Ramses.
I have only met her briefly, but she seems to have a sincere concern about my problems. A charming woman.
Okay. Ramses Najir.
Ramses I was pharaoh during the 19th dynasty, from 1307
Of course he
to
was, yes.
1306 BC. But Ramses II made more of an impact on ancient Egypt. Ramses II was responsible for
That's not what we
gargantuan
asked.
construction projects which left his mark on the face of Egypt for thousands of years.
We asked
I
about the
admire his
accountant.
great works and hope to emulate his feats someday.
Actually, I was referring to Ramses Najir.
Nigeria's never heard of him.
Okay, so they
Are
don't
you
know.
sure you don't know him?
No? I mean, yes. English is such a difficult language.
I mean, it is. So, do we want to try that one again?
You already asked me that, you silly female.
Silly female is such an insult, such a common insult in this. Don't like it. I wanted to ask her about... I can't ask her about him. Why not?
Mr. Agostini? I have only met him once or twice at social affairs. He seems to be very competent, that one.
You see a rotund, ruddy-complexioned man in a fez. Despite his bulk, he moves with dignity and grace.
I'm not in the...
Yes, but that's... So he's not available in my query list. Why? Okay, ask about Egyptology.
Since you're an expert on the subject, what can you tell me about Egyptology?
The study of ancient Egyptian history is of the greatest significance. Many of our modern religious customs originated in the ancient world. The time of the great pharaohs and of the great Egyptian gods was the peak of human civilization. Our modern society is a mere shadow of its former glory when compared to the pinnacle of human development reached by the ancient Egyptians. They knew the truth, and the truth was Amon Ra. He led Egypt to world domination.
We really like this Amon dude.
Aren't you exaggerating just a teensy bit?
I mean, we have flushing toilets.
You to understand. You are not an Egyptian, and you are a woman.
There we go.
What's that supposed to mean?
I grow tired of this topic. Speak of something else if you wish to continue our conversation.
How was this
year? Would you say this has been a good year for you, sir?
I'd say not.
No. The great treasures of my country's past are leaving Egypt in a flood greater than the Nile.
As I understand it, artifacts only leave your country with the approval of the Egyptian Antiquities Service.
I mean...
Bah! The Antiquities Service is a tool of the British. If they want to steal something, they steal it, just like the ancient tomb robbers. But they will pay, just as the tomb robbers paid whenever they were caught.
That almost sounds like a threat.
I, Patash Uptat Smith, do not threaten. I merely carry out the will of the great Amon Ra.
Okay, let's talk to the nice lady. Tell us about your relationship with Carter.
Dr. Carter is an odd one, if you ask me. He is so very interested in gaining personal glory.
Yes.
He doesn't seem to fully understand the beauty of what he has discovered.
Fair.
Why, the Amon Ra artifacts are a symphony, a tribute to the wonders of death.
Oh, good.
Ah.
She's a death glorify-y person.
You ask?
I don't want to ask myself. I want to ask the lady that I am stood in front of. That I would like to try and hit with 1 pixel.
You ask?
There we go. What about Carrington?
Dr. Carrington is a quiet one. I don't see him very often. I'm certain, however, that he must have a poetic soul.
What makes you say that, Dr. Miklos?
I have seen him walking amongst the dead in the Egyptian exhibit late at night. I cannot blame him. It's better than moonlight on headstones. Ah.
Carrington walks... Okay, why is Carrington walking around at night? Other than he's a curator in a museum.
Ah, yes. Detective O'Reilly. I can't say that I'm overly fond of that one. He has little respect for the wonderful things in the museum, and he is too firmly rooted in this life. I do not believe that he likes the dead at all. Can you imagine?
No, I couldn't imagine at all. Okay. Give us your view on Egyptology.
You're an expert in Egyptology, aren't you, Dr. Miklos?
Well, yes, I suppose I am. I have been fascinated with the ancient Egyptians since I was a tiny girl. They loved death like you Americans love baseball.
Ask about the burglary. Ugh. Ask about the burglary. Ask about 1926.
Dr. Miklos, do you have any idea who would want to steal the Dagger of Amon Ra?
Very funny. Everybody, silly girl. It's a priceless artifact. Not only that, but it is said that the blade is an unknown alloy that can slice stone bone like butter.
Jeez, scary.
I suppose that was a silly question after all. Let me rephrase that. Do you know of anyone with any particular motive?
Well, Tut Smith and Ramesses Najir both wanted it very badly to return to their homeland. But they are both so upset, it hardly seems possible that they could have done it. Then again, perhaps they are just fine actors.
Tut Smith, Ramses Najir, Lady WC. Okay, we've had a good natter. Can we exit? I'm curious about that. We can.
Considering that this car...
Okay.
Don't touch... That's not...
She won't go examining things, so that's fair. Oh. Can we examine the cars? Come on.
That's not... Upon close inspection, you see nothing new here.
Fair.
Upon... That's... Upon... That's...
There's nowhere to go out here.
Don't stray too far in the Big Apple. It's a big city and you're not familiar with it yet.
Oh, that's cool. There's a few Egyptian artifacts that were made from meteorites, such as the Dagger of Tutankhamun. QI was talking about Inuit eating implements that were made from meteorite as well. That was quite interesting.
This is it. Yes, this is... What a fine warp and woof.
Okay. So... yeah, he's still around.
being Yes, there... Yes.
I mean, we're still spooking the mastodons.
Looking at us... That...
I'm not missing an area, right? Door to the right. Door above.
It's an alcove occupied by a very impressive urn that contains the ashes of the deceased architect of the Leyendecker Museum, Arvin Slatherlord
Oh, I know what
Loudermilk
we've not
III.
done.
The extra-large size urn had to be specially built to accommodate Loudermilk's massive ego.
Egos.
This...
Oh, excuse me. Sorry. We're here to cover the museum.
The Leyendecker is my home now. I never want to leave it. Its musty hallways and creeping shadows are in my very blood. Can you imagine spending an entire lifetime drifting through the land of the dead? That opportunity is mine, and I treasure it.
Okay.
This could be a fine museum if the management would return its stolen Egyptian artifacts to their proper home.
6. Oh. In many ways, this game is ahead of its time.
The tablecloth is... Upon the table...
Okay. Let's ask them all about the museum.
Young lady, if you want to ask me questions...
Oops. Leyendecker.
With a little work, I can turn the Leyendecker into a world-class museum. But that can wait a few months until they decide to make me the president.
Oh, okay.
Dr. Carrington will have to find other employment, of course, but I'm sure some lesser museum would be happy to have him on their staff.
Righto. What are you doing here?
I know the dagger was heisted. I might even know who done it. But I ain't talking.
If you know, why won't you go to the police?
All I got is a suspicion. I got nothing hard. Besides, what have the cops done for me lately?
Fair.
This is in the interests of justice. Who are you trying to protect?
I'm trying to protect me. Now flip.
How was your year, Mr. Ziggy?
Superb. Simply superb.
I love the spellings.
Last I mixed the sawbuck on the Tunny Dempsey match. Now here I am rubbing elbow grease with a hoity-toity. Thanks for asking.
Why is he here?
You seen it? I saw you in there before. It is what it is. Hey, I'm a philosopher.
You are a philosopher.
Can't help you with...
Yeah, can't help me with people.
The new museum prez?
Okay.
Stodgy old guy, but a fine chap. Yeah, that's it, a fine chap. Good man.
Question.
Tell me about Ziggy.
What's
Ziggy.
up with this Ziggy joker?
Hey, watch your mouth. You're talking to him. I don't think I've heard of him.
I mean, Wolf's running security and you're in, so somewhere.
Quiet guy most of the time. Accountant, I think. Boy, I'll tell you, those Egyptians know some crummy jokes.
Okay. Let's keep asking pointy questions. What about the Lion
The
Decker?
museum, it is such a wonderful place to work. The people, they are so friendly, and I am enjoying my work here. I intend to be the president someday.
Okay, those two want to be president. They all going to say they want to be president?
The Lion Decker is a beautiful museum, Miss Bow, but I do not approve of the spoiling of my ancestors' tombs, much less the wanton display of their bodies and their personal effects.
And you're here.
Why, I am Ramses Nadir, Miss Bow. I am an accountant and a proud father of 2.5.
How is it 2.5?
The Lion Decker is simply fantastic, Miss Bow. This is the opportunity of a lifetime.
From Budget Teddy Roosevelt. What are we missing? Places.
I bore rather easily, dear girl. Do let's move on to another subject,
Oh, okay. Didn't see
The
that
urn
one.
is engraved with the name of Ignaz Leyendecker.
Ignaz Leyendecker.
As you study everything in this room, the food is free of bugs, if that's what you were worried about. That's not the...
There's only one door in the entire thing.
You hear nothing of interest. You hear no... You hear no...
There's nothing to listen in on yet.
I prefer the wine glass unless I am listening at the doors, no? Don't take me seriously, I am just making the joke.
Yeah. I mean, you're making the joke.
Hi!
Being...
So security's up there.
Yes. Looking at us. Yes.
Check all the phones.
As you study every... As you study... That would be... As you study... As you study...
Don't look at me like that, lassie. You're making me nervous.
If you look closely at my neck, you will see the scars from the night my pet Wolverine tried to kill me. How I miss little Fluffy.
Pet Wolverine.
That's not... That's not... Upon... The food is... The food is...
Okay, talk to the inspector.
If you ask me, missy, they're blowing the whole thing out of proportion. Begorra, you'd think that something important had been stolen.
You don't consider a priceless Egyptian artifact to
No,
be
he does not.
important?
Listen, girlie, if I chased down every petty theft that occurred within the nastier segments of the population, I'd be working 30 hours a day.
I would hardly call the Lion Decker Museum a nasty segment of the population,
know.
Mr. O'Reilly. And if you're referring to our Egyptian visitors, shame on you. And don't call me girly.
By me father's whiskers, you're a fiery one, Miss Laura. All right, I won't call you girly, little lassie.
I won't call you girly little lassie. What's his 26
Detective
been like?
O'Reilly, has 1926 been a good year for you?
Oh, most definitely, lass. I've put away more criminals this year than you'll ever see in your whole life.
makes it both a bad year and a good year, doesn't it, Detective?
Yep.
I mean, if there were that many criminals on the loose to begin with, we must be in some sort of crime wave.
You'll see it your way, lassie, and I'll see it mine.
Okay. Really do appreciate the way she stands right in front of people you want to talk to. I want to ask about the lion Dagger.
It's all right if you like that sort of thing. I think it's a waste of time myself. I'd rather be down at the pub knocking one back with me buddies.
Oh. Okay. Apparently, if you sneak up behind certain groups, they will talk to each other. I mean, I don't mean to be rude, but no one's bloody talked to each other yet.
You can almost... You can...
Does that only work? Let's do a restore. Big Tut. Like that group.
You pick it up.
I mean, okay. Can you just use the glass like that?
You hear nothing.
No, thank you. I'm not thirsty.
But Jack tries to give her the glass.
I'm not thirsty, lad.
You hear no... You hear... You hear... You hear... You hear... You hear...
Yeah, that's not helpful. That stands right behind. Not stabby yet. Bit of a frustration though. We found the dagger. The dagger's in the gift shop.
This man looks like he's... You can almost...
Just doesn't want to...
No dice, lady. Get your own.
Am I too close? Okay, so I love it when, you know, you're hardly started in the game and you appear to be suffering from problems. Yeah, thanks. Like sneak up behind characters and they will start talking. It's like they're not talking. They're genuinely not talking. Walk up behind each group of people in this order. Ziggy, Carter, Yvette, Ramses. Oh! There we go.
Standing on the hillside above the excavation in the Valley of the Kings, with the faithful Mahmud describing the dance of the Seven Veils to me in great detail, when a shout arose up from the workers below us. Sensing an important discovery at hand, since I have a sixth sense about these things, I scurried downhill to see that a step had been uncovered in the sand. It turned out to be the entrance to the Temple of Amon Ra. I took the trowel from the Boskafir and cleared the sand away from the rest of the steps myself, revealing the entrance to the temple. The seal of the necropolis was intact on the door seal, indicating that the temple had not been disturbed.
Okay.
I knew that fate had brought me to the discovery I had been seeking for so long. Tireless after my exertion in clearing
inconspicuous
the staircase,
listening is inconspicuous.
I used the sledgehammer to break through the sealed doorway. Within lay the greatest accomplishment of my considerable career.
Your ego?
Hidden within the darkness, untouched for thousands of years in the isolated temple,
Was your connection
lay the
with your inner self?
magnificent Dagger of Amon Ra.
Oh,
the
dagger.
greatest discovery of modern archaeology.
He needs better storytelling.
Good show.
Magnifique. Very impressive, Dr. Carter.
Okay.
So, that's when you heisted it, right?
No, I didn't heist it, you annoying little man. I took it out of the temple and showed it to the workers, who immediately fell upon their faces, all 350 of them, to show respect for my accomplishment.
I don't think they were showing respect for your
That's hard to
accomplishment.
believe, Dr. Carter. Egyptian workers have proudly worked the archaeological digs for many years. I would not think they'd exaggerate their respect for you to such an extent.
I'm still expecting him to rip open his shirt and show an S
You
underneath.
weren't there, were you, Mr. Nagier?
Well, no, that's true.
And when was the last time you were in Egypt, Mr. Nagier? You seem to have lost some of your accent.
Well, it has been several years.
I thought as much.
Your discovery really was quite a remarkable achievement, Dr. Carter.
Was remarkable, Dr. Carrington? You mean, it is a remarkable achievement. There has never been anything like it before.
Quite so. Correction noted, Doctor.
If you will all be excusing me, I see a man I need to speak to.
Certainly, Miss Delacroix. Certainly.
Okay, so that's eavesdropping number 1. She's off.
Boy, did he bet. She's some dish, ain't she?
Yes, those Frenchwomen really have something. I don't think my wife would ever have done it in a mummy case.
What?
In my vast experience of women from different lands, I tend to agree with you, Mr. Nagier. I balked when a certain Frenchwoman suggested we have a deep conversation on the back of a dinosaur, but I was pleasantly surprised by the results.
Yes, Miss Delacroix is certainly the cat's pajamas, as the
Carrington
Americans would
and
say.
Delacroix on the back of a dinosaur.
We does come up with some good sayings, don't we?
Quite.
Good Lord, I hadn't realized a woman was present. Please.
Caught!
Oh, I wasn't actually listening to you gentlemen, Dr. Carrington. I just happened to be standing here. Excuse me.
Doing my peacock impression. I mean, utterly caught. Ooh, okay.
Brian, I'm having the hardest of times keeping my hands off you.
Oh.
Not here, Yvette. There's too many people.
She's banging the cop!
You're not important. You are the most powerful man here, my Ryan.
Oh, fucking hell.
What about that Carrington guy? He's president of this museum.
The doctor, he is old and weak. You are the young one and strong.
Well, she wasn't saying that when he was on the back
And
of the
what would
frickin'
you be wanting,
unicorn.
Miss Bow?
Well, I thought I heard you call my name.
Oh my god!
You must have been hearing things. I didn't even mention your name.
Oh, sorry. I've got to be going now. Excuse me.
And what were you doing when that fancy dagger was being stolen then?
Let me see. I was sleeping in my hotel room.
Sleeping in the hotel room.
You don't sound too sure about that.
I haven't been sleeping too well since I arrived in this country. I'm tired, so I'm not thinking too well.
Uh-huh.
You're not sleeping well. Would you be having a guilty conscience then?
I
Okay.
do not understand your meaning, Mr. O'Reilly. Perhaps it is the English. It is such a curious language, not as clear as Egyptian.
Well, you say the dagger is what brought you to this country. If I were in your position, I'd be tempted to steal
My
it.
god, the detective is doing detective work.
What has already been stolen? The Dagger of Amon Ra belongs to the Egyptian people, Mr. O'Reilly, not to Dr. Carter,
Oh,
not
there's
to
a
this
ding.
museum, and not to this country.
I'd be watching what you're saying, Dr. Smith. You're digging your hole deeper with every word.
Amon Ra will seek his own vengeance on those who have removed his dagger from Egypt. Amon Ra does not require my help.
You say you were sleeping when it was stolen. Were you alone?
That, sir, is none of your business.
Ah, that's where you're wrong, Dr. Smith. It is my business, as long as you're a suspect in the burglary.
I mean, I feel it weird to run a counter for doing it in unusual
Americans
places.
have no shame. I'm here to gain the return of the dagger by legal means. Ask Dr. Carrington.
I have talked to Dr. Carrington, and I know he told you no dice.
The matter is not settled until the last camel drinks from the water of the oasis.
What's that? Some kind of Egyptian double talk?
Not really, it was pretty plain.
Excuse me, sir, but I see a turkey leg on the buffet table that
Oh,
requires
turkey
my
leg.
attention.
We don't really get turkey legs over here, not in the same way. That one doesn't seem to trigger. Okay. Oh! Who's... Oh. Yeah, just walk in front.
If you want to know my theory about it, I think it was stolen by an Egyptian. No offense to your people, Mr. Nagier, but I think there is a secret sect of Egyptian sun worshippers who have sent an envoy here to steal the dagger.
Countess, I hardly think that's likely. Secret sects like you're describing haven't existed in hundreds of years.
Oh, really? And what makes you such an authority on secret sects, Mr. Nagier?
Because he's a member of
Well,
one.
I am only expressing my opinion, madam.
You?
I'm certainly not an expert on the subject.
Quite so. I think my theory is as good as anyone's, darling. And I heard it from a
This is a
reliable
Sierra
source.
game. It is indeed a Sierra game.
Who was that?
Oh.
Never mind. Let's just say my source has never been wrong before.
She has a source.
There's always a first time for everything, Countess. I still find your theory far-fetched.
Since you seem to be listening, Miss...
She's terrible at this!
What? Oh, I definitely think it's worth considering, Countess.
Countess?
There, you see, Mr. Nagier, the press takes me seriously.
Of course, it is kind of far-fetched.
Huh, well, I never. Excuse me.
Oh, did I say something wrong? I'm sorry.
Oh, God. Okay.
So that's the deal, Countess.
I'd rather not talk about it right now.
Someone's over-listening.
No kidding. DeWall's got ears around here. And so does certain nosy reporters, if you know what I mean.
Yes. Now, if you'll excuse me, I simply must speak to Dr. Carrington.
Okay.
Sure thing, Toots.
Righto. Ziggy?
Well, ain't you the hoity-toity dame these days? I almost didn't recognize you with your clothes on.
Excusez-moi, am I knowing you, sir?
Ziggy's my moniker. You gonna pretend you doesn't know me?
You are making the joke with me, no? Perhaps you have confused me with someone else?
I ain't joking. You're Yvette Delacroix. I'd know that body of yours anywheres.
I am sure I am not knowing what you mean, Monsieur Ziggy.
Okay.
Oh, I get it. Yous is worried one of these hi-hats is gonna hear us, right? Oh, okay.
So she has a
I'm clued in.
past.
We can talk later.
Are you enjoying the culinary delights this evening, Miss Delacroix?
This food, it is adequate. I do not eat so much. This way I maintain my figure, no?
Ah, yes, and a lovely figure it is, Miss Delacroix.
Especially on the back of a
Merci,
dinosaur.
Dr. Carrington. You are so kind.
Okay, so French people
I
are
feel we've
horny.
known each other long enough. Please call me Archibald.
Archibald!
As you wish,
Scandalous!
Archibald. I am yours to command, as always.
Miss Bow, is there something I can do for you?
Oh, no. I was just admiring Miss Delacroix's dress.
Maybe turquoise was a little
Merci, Miss
too...
Bow. And your gown, it is a bit out of date, but charming nonetheless.
I mean, we did pick it up
Thank
from a
you,
dry cleaners after
I
a
think.
2-year-old ticket expired.
Well, if you ladies will excuse me, I must mingle with the guests.
Well, well, look what the leprechaun's dragged in.
Hey, now watch what yous calls me, alrighty? I don't know what that leprechaun thing is, but I don't like the sound of it.
I'm sure you've been called worse things.
When's the
smart
next
guy.
Carrington event?
Only by low class
Not when.
poisons.
Where?
By the way, ain't you afraid of being seen with me?
Okay.
Cops
Poisons.
talk to stoolies all the time, and I was wondering what you're doing here.
I'm a big patron of the arts. That's the kind of high-class guy I am.
You don't even know what the word patron means.
I does too.
Okay, what does patron
What does patron mean?
Hey, ain't that the countess I see over there? I needs to talk to her.
Okay. Off we go.
One thing I am admiring about the Egyptian man is the
I
way
mean,
he is
surely you
treating
just
his
see this
woman
turquoise dress
with
turning
the
up and you shut the
strong
hell up.
hand and the firm words.
Well, that is the proper way, as our culture teacheth us.
Which is not to say our culture is primitive by any means. Our civilization has evolved over thousands of years, so our methods are quite well thought out and practical.
And the Egyptian man, he is very skilled in the private matters as well, no?
I have no comments.
Well, speaking for myself, I feel it is my sacred duty to be knowledgeable in all matters that concern me.
With your
I've
2.5
certainly
kids.
had no complaints about my skills, Mrs. Delacroix.
Ah, Miss Bow, I didn't see you standing there.
Really?
Well, I hear another turkey leg calling my name at the buffet table, so if you'll excuse me.
The turkey leg, it sounds good to me also. I'll accompany you, Dr. Smith.
I need to make an auto high-fiving machine. Good grief.
Countess, they tell me you were married to the last museum president, no?
Yes, darling, that's correct. Sterling Waldorf Carlton was such a charming man, and so well.
Sterling and Countess.
My heart is just an empty void without him.
Yes, Sterling was such a nice man. It's too bad that he's worm food now.
Ew! I prefer to think that Sterling is still with me in spirit.
Oh, I'm sure his body is crawling with maggots by now. But if his spirit is with you, let me know because I'd love to see it.
It is hard to lose a loved one, no? I understand you were only married this short time, Countess.
Yes, I had only 2 short but charming months of married life with Sterling before he died.
Oh!
And how long had you known this man before you were married?
Oh, we met just 1 charming month before we decided to get married.
Oh!
It was love at first sight.
Oh!
Where did you meet him?
Oh, I had only been in this country a few weeks when I met Sterling on an offshore casino ship.
Bloody hell!
It's quite legal to drink and gamble there, you know, and all the right people attend. Sterling was so charming, he just swept me off my feet.
This Sterling, he must have had the large broom.
It's just a manner of speech, my dear.
Sterling was a wealthy man. You must have inherited a nice fortune, Countess.
The money doesn't matter, darling. Actually, there's an annoying problem with the estate right now. It seems Sterling was changing his will when he died to give me more money, perhaps. Anyway, I'm sure my attorney will take
Why
care
would
of
you
the
disclose as a problem with the will?
Too bad you can't dig him up to finish his new will.
Yes, quite.
Oh, cousin tight. Right, okay.
The archaeology, it is such a masculine profession. Breaking into the ancient tombs with your sledgehammer, thrusting your way into the treasure chambers, touching the gold artifacts. It is also stimulating, no?
Someone get her a cold shower.
Yes, well, when you put it that way, I guess it is rather stimulating being the most important archaeologist of all time.
And it is such a burden to bear this greatness, no? With such pressure to perform, you must be perfect all the time.
Bit thirsty.
You have a unique understanding of my problems, Yvette.
I mean, she has a unique understanding of
Your
everybody's
problems,
problems.
they are obvious, no?
Very
the back of a
kind
mastodon.
you to say that, but there are many who misinterpret my actions. They don't understand the pressure of having famous relatives in the same line of work.
Yeah.
And having to compare oneself to them all the time.
Ah, but the Tutankhamun find, it is nothing when compared to your discovery.
No. One of you found an entire
Correct.
site. The
I
other one
didn't
found a tiny
realize you knew
knife.
so much about archaeology.
I know many things, Dr. Carter.
So I've heard. Maybe we should discuss archaeology sometime.
So what's her game?
I'd love to hear about the work you do, Dr. Carter. Perhaps later tonight?
Will you be working late tonight?
Oh, yes. I think everyone will be here tonight, no? There is much to be done to prepare for the opening of your exhibit tomorrow.
I was planning a break for tea around 3 a.m.
3
If you'd
a.m.
like to join me.
It sounds wonderful. Perhaps you would come by my office then?
3 a.m.
I'd be
in her
delighted.
office.
It is so gracious of you to take the time to speak with me.
Nonsense. Think nothing of it.
How will I ever repay you for this courtesy? I know how busy you are, Dr. Carter.
I'm sure we'll think of something. And call me Pippin.
Pippin. Okay.
I told you to stop bothering me, you camel driver.
Pippin Carter.
Dr. Carter, I will stop bothering you.
Brother to
when
the other
dagger
Carter.
is safely back in Cairo.
I don't know if you've noticed, but the bloody dagger has been stolen from the bloody museum, you great twit.
Except it's
I
not.
see
It's
no
in the gift
reason
shop.
to exchange epithets with you, Dr. Carter. I am aware of the burglary. I am also aware that no evidence was left behind, and the dagger case was not harmed. In fact, I think you removed the dagger from the exhibit.
Me? Me? And what bloody reason would I have to steal my own bloody dagger from my own bloody exhibit?
The dagger is not yours, Doctor. It belongs to the Egyptian people. As to why you stole it, I do not pretend to understand your twisted American thinking. Perhaps you wanted to keep the dagger for yourself, in your own private collection.
Perhaps I should ask why you're shifting the blame onto me, you insignificant peasant. It would be very clever of you to steal the dagger, then stay about to start rumors about someone else stealing it.
Only an archaeological thief would make such an accusation, Doctor. Now I'm sure that you stole it for yourself.
I did not.
Yes, you did.
Did not.
Did too. Did not. Did
Did
too.
not.
Oh my god.
Did.
Gentlemen, please.
Who asked you?
Mind your own business, you nosy reporter.
But
I have more important things to do.
Our discussion is far from over, Dr. Carter.
It is. It
That's
isn't.
what you
it
think,
is,
you
it
malodorous buffoon.
Okay. Whew.
You are interested in the great art, no?
Oh, come on.
Then you should come with me this evening. I'll give you the personal tour of the old master's gallery.
Well,
I guarantee that you will not be wasting your time. You will enjoy it very much.
Well,
You are studying the art at the université, no?
Well, yes, but...
Then it is settled. I will give you the private tour in a little while, no?
But
There is no need to thank me yet. I will be enjoying it as much as you will.
Yes, but that's Steve. Where the hell was Steve? Steve was the guy on the docks that we were chatting up earlier.
hi,
The fanatic.
hi,
The fanatic.
hi.
The fanatic.
Looks like we may have lost Steve to Yvette. Oh well. Well, we're out of people. Such heartbreak. Okay. All gone. Right.
Back to the rotunda, Fräulein. The rest...
Now I'm confused. Aren't we out of guests? I'm a little concerned we're now out of order. Tut Smith, Yvette Delacroix. That looks right. Okay.
Looks.
Looks can be deceiving.
Upon close.
Whoops. That's made in Pittsburgh. It's the one on the end.
Upon.
Or I thought it was the one on the end. Is it the second one from the end?
It looked.
Pittsburgh. Third from the end? Four from the end? Fifth from the end? from the end. There's one missing.
Upon looks. This case
Okay.
The bat on the inside of the bowl is smiling.
The bat.
That looks like a Peruvian footed vessel. It has a picture of a bat painted on the inside of the bowl.
A Peruvian footed vessel.
That's not...
Broken parts.
The bat on the inside of the bowl is smiling.
The bat on the inside of the bowl is smiling.
On each piece you can see it. Upon close... The dagger shows...
Mechanics against me in this one. Come on. Okay, out we go.
The happy part... That would...
Who haven't we talked to? Eavesdropping is, of course, perfectly polite. Yep. He's still here!
Rotunda, Fräulein.
I swear this was not this hard the last time I tried playing this. Wolf is not going, is he? Dislike having to go to walkthroughs. Pretty insistent. We should be able to...
That...
We should be able to do things. Oh. Oh. That's Steve.
Miss Bow?
Shit.
Oh! Mr. Dorian?
That's right. We met at the docks.
Bingo.
Oh dear. Your shoes, they aren't exactly formal.
You're great.
Oh, well, I can explain that, but not right now.
Did you lose them on the
I
Mastodon?
see. Well, what brings you here?
You.
Oh.
Oh, me?
You told me you'd be here tonight, and, well, I thought we should talk.
Okay.
Oh, about what?
Could we step outside for a minute? The moonlight is very nice tonight.
Well, all right. I think I'd enjoy that.
Hi, Steve. And he stabs you. A stevedorian is a particular type of...
I just wanted to explain to you who I really am.
You're not Steve Dorian?
Well, yes, I am Steve Dorian, but I felt like I didn't give you the most accurate impression of myself when I met you earlier today. But, gee willikers, I'm just not used to meeting attractive young ladies on the docks.
I wasn't down there looking for a man.
Oh my
I'm
god.
a professional journalist working on a story.
Oh, well, yes, of course you are. I didn't mean to imply anything. In fact, I was very impressed with your professionalism and with your smile. I just didn't want you to think I'm a common stevedore.
Stevedorian.
Well, I'll admit I was wondering what a stevedore was doing at this ritzy museum fundraiser.
My stevedore job pays the bills, but I'm aiming for a career as an artist. However, I'm really here because I'd hate myself for the rest of my life if I didn't try to see you again. Maybe I'm a fool, maybe you think we're too different, but I had to try.
Maybe you're a fool, maybe
I'm
you
very
think...
flattered.
Okay, fair enough.
Are you always this nervous?
Wow.
I'm not very good with women. I've spent all my time working ever since I was 10 years old, when my father died. I've never had a chance to date very much. Lately, I've spent my free time going to school.
He's improving himself.
I'm starting to think we're more alike than I first thought.
Oh,
My
they've got
mother
dead
died when
parents
I
in
was
common.
very young, so I was raised by my father. What kind of an artist are you?
He works with blood.
I'm a painter, and I do a little sculpting.
How
Of the
interesting.
human form.
But I think that an artist would know enough not to wear work boots with his tuxedo at a formal party.
Oh, I said I'd explain that, didn't I? I was hoping nobody would notice. I had to blow 2 weeks' pay to rent this tux, but I didn't have enough left over to rent the fancy shoes. It's just that I had to see you again.
That's
You
fair.
spent all your money just to see me? My goodness. I don't know what to say.
Say you'll have dinner with me some evening.
I think
I
that's...
may seem a little odd, but I promise that I'm harmless.
Anybody
I'd
who
be honored
promises
to
that
spend
they're
an evening with you
harmless
and show you
is
the sights
usually
around
not
town.
harmless.
Well, I
Yeah.
don't usually, but you've gone to a lot of trouble to find me. I think I can trust you.
No.
Really? You'll do it? Oh, thank you. You won't regret it. I'll make it a memorable evening. I'll paint for you. I'll dance for you. I'll sing for you. Anything you want.
Well, there's no need to get carried away. Let's see how dinner goes first.
Of course. You're
Wow.
absolutely right. I don't seem too anxious, do I?
No, not at all.
just
You
a
spent
bit,
2 weeks'
but
salary
that's okay.
on a tux.
Okay.
So you could
I'll
see
take a
someone
deep
that
breath and
maybe
calm down.
is interested
I'll be
in...
fine. I'll
That
do
didn't show
whatever
any
you
real
want.
interest to you at the time
I
for a
think
one
this
night.
is the beginning of something important, Steve. I like you already. Let's go back to the party, Steve. I've got work to do.
Okay, I'll point out, we've been ribbing a little bit on Yvette. She's the one that's just made moves. With creepy, I'm gonna wear your skin, dude. Okay. Right. Well, since we've now done that... Oh. Yes! Federated Stevedore. Quick, get Steve! Okay. Okay, let's not get too excited.
The museum staff have labelled this a Struthiomimus, literally, ostrich mimic.
Let's not get too excited. All we have done so far...
Now is a poor time to be reassembling this skeleton.
I mean, it's assembled.
Despite...
Let's work out where we can go, what we can do.
Achtung!
Oh my
Guests
god!
are not allowed in this room at this time. You are disturbing the paintings. Raus! You leave now! Mach schnell!
We made it one screen.
These rigid supports help shore up the delicately assembled tusculature. You yank firmly on the rigid support. Yep, it's rigid and firm. Although you're not supposed to touch the exhibits, your investigation forces you to make some...
Oops, sorry. Okay, let's have a look.
In every respect, it appears to be untampered with and normal. In every apparent respect, this is a perfectly normal million-year-old chunk of a prehistoric creature's endoskeleton.
Fair.
A rigid metal structure held together with standard 1/4-inch lug nuts. Dirty, but in perfectly good shape.
Held together with lug nuts. I mean, I've got nothing I can do with that right now.
Under close inspection, you can see that this pile of bones could indeed be assembled to resemble the skeleton of a mastodon. Determining whether or not the reproduction is at all accurate is beyond your expertise. In every... Ah, a very nice specimen of Eohippus, somewhat flatter than it appeared in real life.
Okay.
This is an Archaeopteryx.
So, what have we gained here? Oh, a right, as well as a back. I do not yet have a spanner. Aha! Okay.
A fairly accurate model of Struthiomimus, or ostrich mimic. Up close, this is an impressively realistic model. The animal's hide appears to be either very real or a spectacular fake, and the stitch marks are beautifully hidden. You find nothing that arouses your suspicions. Under your closest scrutiny, there's still nothing more than models of baby Triceratops. Looking carefully, you determine that the models in the diorama are very well made. It's a very big painting of a Spinosaur.
Got 2 doors. Oh, yes.
An empty chest from the 15th century. Although the carvings on the exterior are crude, cut into the wood by someone with little talent or ability for wood carving, the chest now resides in a museum, simply because it's old. Kind of makes you stop and think, doesn't it?
If you say so.
The chest feels like wood, and you get a small splinter in your finger when you rub your hand over the carvings.
We then died of the infection several weeks later.
The carvings... The chest...
Oh.
It's an unmarked wood door with faded flecks of white paint on it.
Flecks of white paint.
The door is locked. When you touch the doorknob, you get a heavy coating of dust all over the palm of your hand.
The doorknob hasn't been used for a long period of time. Ah. Melon.
The placard says, "This is a granite stele depicting Horus and Thoth found in the Temple of Amon Ra. This stele was modified during the reign of the pharaoh Akhenaten, then restored during the reign of Tutankhamun."
Tutankhamun. Okay.
The mummified corpse of Amenophis III, also known as Amenhotep III, or Memnon by the Greeks. He built large temples to Amon Ra, both at Karnak and at Luxor. In the 5th year of his reign, Amenophis marched into Nubia to quell a mighty rebellion. He also ruled over the Mesopotamians, since his kingdom was quite large.
Everybody has large kingdoms.
Amenophis was a mighty hunter who slew 102 lions during the first 10 years of his reign in his spare time.
Good grief.
Now he's dead.
Now he's dead.
It looks remarkably like a glass case in the shape of a pyramid. A small card informs you that this case contained the famous Dagger of Amon Ra, which is now missing.
Okay.
Although there are a few scratches on the glass case, there are no signs of forced entry into the display. There aren't even any fingerprints.
No fingerprints.
Although there A close look at the pyramid shows you the grainy texture of limestone, which you find highly educational. This pyramid is a model of the Great Pyramid of Cheops, Khufu, as it appears today. Originally, the entire surface of the pyramid was covered with smooth, polished limestone. This covering has worn away over time to reveal the stepped surface we see now.
Okay.
The base of the Great Pyramid covers 13 acres and was built with over 2 million stones to a height of 480 feet.
This one's a couple of meters.
Construction took 30 to 50 years.
HS2 will probably take longer. I find this pretty educational. I really like this, but...
This is a granite stele depicting Horus and Thoth, found in the temple.
And only reach Old Oak Common. Yeah, the announcements were pretty depressing today. We're going to go to a junction outside. Oh.
Ironically, there's a gold Ankh medallion, the ancient Egyptian symbol of life, resting in a pool of blood.
In a pool of blood? Right next to our offices. It's ridiculous.
A close look reveals the initials PS inscribed in the back of the bloody Ankh.
Okay. Can we pick it up?
Don't touch it. You don't know where it's been.
I mean, I do. It's been in a pile of blood. Okay. Bloody Ankh. Amon Ra exhibit. Oh, okay. They're building student flats. Yes! Okay. Is that Carrington?
Dr. Carter's face is looking rather pale, as if he's not feeling well. Perhaps it's because he's lost a lot of blood.
Should we go get Mr. Policeman? I mean, Mr. Policeman did not consider dagger theft a particularly important thing.
Dr. Carter seems to have suffered a severe trauma to his chest area.
He's been stabbed in the chest.
You don't want to touch this dagger. It's evidence, and you don't know where it's been.
Fair.
A close look at the dagger reveals the words, "Made in Pittsburgh," stamped on the part of the blade that is not buried
It's been in Dr.
Carter's
Carter.
chest.
Oh.
That's not a close look at your naked eye. The rough surface of the dagger handle doesn't appear to hold any fingerprints, but that's something for the coroner to examine in detail. Although there are a couple of breadcrumbs caught in his mustache, they don't seem to be significant as evidence, particularly since you saw him eating bread at the party. The flower is fake. It has no detectable smell. A tube runs from the back
Why
of the
on
flower,
earth?
behind the lapel, down to a squeeze bulb inside the vest. When you squeeze the bulb, a weak stream of water squirts you in the eye.
Why? Why does Carter have a joke? I didn't touch it. Oh, why did I touch it? Yeah, apparently I touched it.
The red fluid appears to be blood. This might explain Dr. Carter's pale appearance.
Yes.
The jacket is free of blood, but there is a bluish stain on one lapel. A close look and sniff at the stain makes you think that it's grape juice. The bulge on one side is ruining the carefully tailored lines of the tuxedo.
Grape juice. The policeman chews on grapes to cover smell of alcohol, supposedly. Why the joke flower?
The red fluid... From the smell of the damp stain, it appears that Dr. Carter was quite surprised by the stabbing.
That's a detail! Well done!
The jacket is free. The bulge on one side is ruining the carefully tailored lines of the tuxedo.
The bulge on one side.
When you reach into Pippin's tuxedo jacket, you find a notepad in his inner pocket. You pick it up and place it in your purse. A notepad made of good quality paper. There's an imprint on the paper from the previous message written on the pad, but it's too faint to read.
Yeah. We know how to solve that.
It's your... While this is an interesting approach...
There's a pen! We can do a rubbing with the pen! Clearly you do know where that's been. Okay.
Pippin's shirt is immaculate, except for a few streaks of blood. His tie is partially undone, which is something that never would have happened if Dr. Carter had been allowed to notice it. There is a wide cut in the shirt fabric where the dagger sliced through to Pippin's chest. The cut is slightly wider than the width of the blade, as if it moved to one side after it penetrated his body. You hear a disturbing gurgling noise when you poke Pippin in the chest. You hear a...
The voice actor's getting a lot of mileage out of this.
Immaculate.
I also note that he's still bleeding very profusely.
Pippin has a flower in his... By removing the notepad from Pippin's pocket, you have improved the appearance of his tuxedo jacket. If he was still alive, he'd certainly thank you. By removing... Looks aren't everything.
Okay.
Pippin has a glazed expression in his right eye, staring off into eternity. At least he faced his death with his eyes open.
I mean, how much mileage are we getting out of one corpse?
His mouth is gaping wide, showing you some fine dental work. This was a man who took pride in the appearance of his teeth.
I mean, bloody hell.
Dr. Carter's flesh is looking rather...
Okay, calling it. Anything else you want me to explore whilst I'm here? Because... knifey in chest. He's got a joke flower for some reason.
It feels fake.
God knows why. Grape juice on the lapel. Notepad with imprint.
You don't want to touch...
Won't touch the dagger. Fair. But we know it's one of the fake ones. Call it. Call it. Quarter past 8.
You scream like a banshee, lass. Did you kill the man then?
No, I just walked in here and found him.
I suppose that would explain your screaming then. Did you see the murderer?
No.
All right, I'll talk to you later after you've had a chance to calm down. Just don't try to leave the building.
Then I searched the body exhaustively. Better than you will. Act 3. On the cutting edge. Okay.
You're doing a fine job, Laura. Having already interrogated the guests, Detective O'Reilly is now discussing the murder with the staff members as they leave the party. It would be best if you don't interfere.
Can I get a save? You've got red on you. Carter's got red on you. Carter's got red on him. There we go. It's now 10 o'clock. Wow, this clock is running fast. I can't do anything. Oh?
Hi, Miss Bowl. I'm Ernie Leach. Dr. Carrington told me you could stay a while and talk to the staff.
Oh.
I've got to lock the doors, so just come and find me when you're ready to leave. Dr. C also has a key, but you don't want to bother him about that.
I am
Thank
going
you, Mr.
to...
Leach.
We've
Just
started
be careful
Act
where
3.
you go. Wolf will get upset if he finds you downstairs.
Wolf will get upset if he
See
finds you
later.
downstairs. Of course he will. And why would Carrington be happy
Did
for
you
us to go
manage
searching?
to learn anything from your interviews, Detective O'Reilly?
Don't bother your little head about it, lass.
It's my job, sir.
This is an official murder investigation, Miss Bow. Do not be interfering.
Oh, I don't mean to interfere. I just want to know what's going on. Any leads so far?
All the sass.
Dr. Carter died as the result of someone sticking a gift shop dagger in his chest. What more do you need to know?
Well, for one thing, who did it?
Someone who didn't like him. That's my guess.
That's fair.
Brilliant deduction.
If you think that you can do better.
I can try.
Oh, wunderbar. Now we've got the amateurs involved.
I may not be a detective, but I'm terribly clever. I've solved murders before.
We have.
Just stay out of me way, lass, and don't destroy the evidence.
Certainly not.
Someone who did like him and also liked
Yeah.
daggers. And wanted to show him the daggers up close and personal. Okay, we should wrap
This
up.
door is locked.
The gift shop's now locked. Okay. let's wrap that up here. We've got to save. We'll restart chapter 3.